Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Social Theory. My name is Thomas E. Hanna. I am your host and the founder of BlogPhoto.tv. And as I tell you every time, I'm super excited about this show. And I have good reason to. We have a fantastic guest today, someone that I personally owe a lot to, and so I'm really excited to have her on. Before I introduce her to you, I do want to remind you that this is an interactive show, so if you want to engage with the conversation, simply leave a comment or a question in the comments. If you're on Google Plus, watching it live from there, simply leave them in the comments right here on the event page. If you're watching from the website or live on Twitter, you can tweet your questions to #STShow, and we are tracking those and bringing them in live to the show. And so having said that, I want to introduce you to our special guest of the hour. She is the founder of the Traffic Generation Cafe and a guru, a genius of building engagement and driving traffic, Ana Hoffman. How are you doing, Ana?
Yay! I'm excited too, Thomas. It's hard not to be because you're so pumped up and ready to go. Right here with you.
So, yeah, super excited.
So, yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah, and I love, show me this coffee cup that you got here. But, and I gotta click over to you. There it is. That is adorable. Now that almost matches your logo.
Yes, I guess it does, but you know what? It contains the best, the strongest coffee ever. Earlier you showed me a French press, and I'm very impressed, but this is the stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I have my French press right here. I need this to get through the show in my bucket of caffeine right here. So I join you in that. And in fact, that's part of one of the things that I always enjoyed about your branding is that you've connected in talking about Traffic Generation Cafe. You have connected this concept of the community cafe, the people that gather around over a cup of coffee, with social media and teaching people about search. And I want to explore all of that here in just a moment because I think it's such a fantastic sort of culture that you have created there. Before we do that, I want to know a little bit about your story because I know that it is a rare occurrence when somebody that is involved in blogging and or content marketing or social media to the level that you are that intended to get there in the beginning. So I would love to hear about sort of your evolution from where you were to where you are and how that came about.
Okay, ask away.
All right. Well, tell me before Traffic Generation Cafe, how did you get started in blogging in the first place? I wanted an online business. I just had a child. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also wanted to make some money online. Mm-hmm. On top of everything else, my husband, who was in the military for almost 10 years, was medically discharged right around that time, and it was the low time in the economy where it was extremely difficult to find a job. So he was discharged from the military. We were unemployed for a year, owned a house in South Dakota, brand new child, so a lot going on. So I really needed to, so we live in South Dakota, right? There's nothing available. It's a one Applebee town, Rapid City, beautiful, but really tiny. So really my choices were go work at Target or Walmart or, McDonald's and take away my time from my daughter while my husband was looking for a job or start something online. So, of course, the latter sounded a lot better. So that's how I started. At first it was eBay, dabbling into this and that, researching all kinds of online businesses. MLM came to mind very quickly because it's hard to spit without hitting an MLM company online. So being brand new to all of it, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I tried it all. I did eBay for a while. I kind of liked it, but not really, not my thing. I did MLM for a while. I realized that it's definitely not my thing. But what all of that search and making mistakes brought me to was the fact that it made me question why wasn't I successful in an MLM business, right? Because everybody has a system. Everybody promises that if you just follow this, you know, you'll be on your way to generating a lot of income with very little
overnight,
effort.
even.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Start this today. Tomorrow, millions of people will flood to your website. They'll all buy whatever product you want them to, and you will retire.
Absolutely. And you know what? Guys, if you are in an MLM business, it's an absolutely fine place to be. Don't feel like we're bashing MLM businesses, but what I'm against is MLM systems that tell you that you can do all of that. So just case in point, the other day I received an email from a guy who I've never heard of before. And in his email he said, well, I've been a part of your list for a while, and it's only fair that I now ask you to join my list. Don't you think that's a fair trade? Seriously, I got that kind of an email. He says, I am on your list, so now you need to be on my list. And of course, he's an MLM business, and I bet you he didn't think of this himself. Somebody is teaching them. It's not the first email of the kind either. So, I mean, so that's exactly why I was so frustrated with MLM business, because everything they taught us did not work, and everything that we taught us, they taught us. Everybody else did. So you couldn't stand out whatsoever. So, again, blessing in disguise got me to thinking, what is it that I can do differently? How is it that I need to stand out to succeed? Because I really wanted to. You know, it was my long-term goal to build a business. So it wasn't working. I was determined to make it work, right? So I started doing a lot of research, and it occurred to me that Google back then, what was it, about 5 years ago, was a very powerful traffic driver. So if I can get my website in front of Google searchers, I would most likely succeed.
And,
so,
that's what a lot of us hear, right?
Absolutely. Knew nothing about SEO, Google, how it works, algorithms, nothing. Did a lot of research, started experimenting, and all of a sudden my website, my replicated lead capture page, was on the first page of Google for the name of my business. I was ecstatic. I was on, you know, this was brilliant. But what happened is that I kind of found that my passion was in figuring out how things work and how I can get more traffic to that page versus actually being in that business and doing the business and coaching people and blah, blah, blah. Not my cup of tea, but traffic was great. So I figured, you know, if I wanted to know that, then there must be other people who wanted to know that as well. And of course, everybody kept telling us, blogging is great. You need to start a blog. And so I listened and I started to blog. And then, so I started to blog, literally know nothing about blogging and what am I supposed to do with it? And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm blogging. How are people going to know that I'm blogging? They just automatically know because I'm there. That's what my 7-year-old daughter thinks. You know, she'll put out a YouTube video and people will come because in her mind that's how it works, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I started to blog and nobody was listening. So I figured, well, that's not working. Blogging is good, but the way I was doing it was not good. So scratch that, all of that. I scratched my first blog because it wasn't working, and I started Traffic Generation Cafe. So what I did with Traffic Generation Cafe was different. Was what you exactly mentioned. First of all, the branding. Cafe.
Which I love. But part of that is I'm a coffee addict, so you got me hooked.
Thank you. See, that's the thing, you know. This is my passion. This is who I am. So you take a little bit of who you are and you put it in your business, and you automatically have something built in that you can talk about every day. I mean, I can talk about I can drink coffee all the time. So why not, you know, why not put that into my site, right? So that was the first good thing that I did. So let me take a sip because
Yes.
Otherwise,
Embrace the caffeine, Anna.
I'm going to break if I don't. So I did that, and that worked very well. But also, what I did is, finding your own voice and all of that. That is very important. Don't get me wrong, but that comes with experience. You don't just find your own voice, and from day one, it's there for you, and you blog the way, you're meant to. So that came a long ways ago. But what did come first with coffee was the fact that I focused on people. So I figured if I need traffic, traffic is people. I need to connect one-on-one with people and then see how it goes. So my first traffic generation experiment was Twitter. Twitter was fairly new back then. I focused on Twitter only, and I basically started talking to people and listening to people and engaging in conversations, which is really quite a feat if you think about it, because Twitter is horrible for conversations, and I know people love it. Some people absolutely love it, but for me, for my the way my brain thinks, it's just not the best way, because there are too
small.
Pointed,
It's too soundbited. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to be long-winded. I like to talk about things, and so trying to get a tweet out means I write the tweet, and then I spend 5 minutes editing it down to fit within that character thing. It's a conversation.
No, I'm the same way, so I completely got frustrated very quickly. But there was one thing that I did right, and, again, there was probably beginner's luck, because what I did was that I was sending to everybody who's following me, and I was letting them know that I set up a page at Traffic Generation Cafe where I was letting any business promote themselves. Basically, come in, leave a comment about your business, what you do, what you're up to, what your challenges are, and that's it. No strings attached.
Okay.
But what happened is that, instead of saying, come check out my business, I said to people, come tell me about your business. And that worked spectacularly. I mean, in 2 to 3 months, I think Traffic Generation Cafe was under 20K a month for Alexa ranking. Sorry, not a month, but 20K Alexa ranking. So, which was tremendous for a brand new blog. And it all was built on sort of a one-on-one attention with Twitter users back then. So that's basically how, in a nutshell, I transitioned from an eBay seller to an MLMer, unsuccessful one, to running a blog, unsuccessful one, to kind of stumbling onto Traffic Generation Cafe idea and sticking with it and figuring out what works.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe I'm running ahead of myself, but focusing on people works every time.
Yeah, well, and I think, and just listening to your story, there's a couple of things that really stood out to me. First of all, is that there's this mindset with blogging and with really social media, anything on the internet, that you get on and it's naturally going to happen. I remember I was sitting at Starbucks. I know we battle on Pete's and Starbucks, you and I. But in this case, I was sitting at Starbucks and I was listening to this guy behind me who was sitting down with another individual and explaining to him his business model. And his business model was, I want to be an affiliate for these products because people need to buy them, and I want to be the one they buy them from. So I'm going to write an article and I'm going to get it to rank up, and then people are going to buy it. And that was his whole thing. And I shook my head, but I shook my head because I've been there, and that's what's often presented. And in your story, you go through the process of what is everybody saying works, then what is actually what is the actual experience of that, and now having to go through the process of trying and failing and trying and failing better until eventually you figure out who you are, how what you do connects, and how to leverage that in a way that actually builds communities that are engaging with your stuff. Which brings us right back to Traffic Generation Cafe. You created this, and the big transition was moving from systems and algorithms and all of that to how do we connect with people and provide people an opportunity to have real value, to promote what they're doing, and to help them be successful. And that was a significant even shift of thinking. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's bring this right back then a little bit to your branding, because even your branding is geared around this community feel. You've got the coffee mug. You create this thing, and people are connected. In fact, look at some of the comments that we have over here. Carrie Ann Foster, this cracked me up. She says that when she grows up and to be a big blogger, she wants to rock it like Ana Hoffman. I don't know if you've been following Carrie Ann Foster's stuff lately. Her stuff has been blowing up. So she's on her way to being the big Ana Hoffman blogger. Then we have Kenneth Story, who is connecting with your coffee stuff. I didn't see him. We were talking about that fireplace a minute ago. That fireplace and coffee is looking so nice today. And Brown, who says that engagement, which brings us right back to what we're talking about, is important on any platform. Now, I'm interested, when you put together this brand, was part of the intent to build a community type atmosphere? Or did that sort of come about evolving over time as Traffic Generation Cafe evolved?
You know, I really named it Traffic Generation Cafe without thinking too much about it. It was just expressing who I was, and I wanted to convey that lounging type of atmosphere, you know, where you can come and sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk about traffic generation. So that's sort of the back thinking was. I didn't really realize, I mean, I'd like to take credit for being so brilliant and creating this right off the bat, but nothing like that. You know, it just happened to be a good thing. And again, you know, like for instance, let's take you, you know, going right back at you. So you created your blog not too long ago whatsoever. Back in August you launched it, I think?
Yeah, June, I think it was. Yeah.
June, okay. Okay, let's take June. So either way, it's less than a year. So your initial branding was photos. And they're great photos, and that's what you identified with. Now, you're kind of walking away from photos per se a little bit, but as a core branding, it's still there because you still use that on your blog, you still use that in your email newsletters, you still use that on social media because that's the type of content you post, and you add those images into your content. So your brand sort of has evolved, but the initial feeling of it that you connect with, I mean, look at the background that we're looking at right now. Isn't that beautiful?
My heron over there, I like his position here, so if I get lost, I can say, what's that? What? Oh, a little bird told me, and
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. But see, that's the thing, you know, we all have that one something that people can identify with. And I mean, you can build a very successful business, but without that person behind the business, I truly believe you will never be as successful as you can be, because your business, for the most part, it rests on who you are, and people need to connect with who you are. So even on social media, or especially on social media, you can't just be all business and all, you know, you can't sound like the New York Times all the time. You have to sound like a goofball BuzzFeed, even though I hate BuzzFeed, but you know, it's just mind. So, yeah, you send stupid cat pictures, dog pictures, turtle pictures, whatever it is that you're into. But that lets people connect with you, and that's very important because nobody wants to do business with a website. People do business with people.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that people want to connect.
right. So that's why coffee is a perfect, AJ Khan, a blind 5-year-old, I think is his website. Do you know who I'm talking about? AJ?
Not offhand, but go ahead.
Okay, so he's a fairly prominent SEO expert, and when we first got on Google Plus, he's doing it less and less these days, I noticed, but he sort of established his brand as posting beautiful pictures of places all over the globe with a hashtag I didn't wake up in. And those pictures just flew off the shelf because he was posting incredible shots and people loved it, and that was his brand. Has nothing to do with SEO, has nothing to do with his site. It's just something that he loved and he wanted to share. So point being, we all kind of need to reach down and find that one thing that other people can connect with and show our humanity, show that we're, if you pinch me, I will squeal because it hurts, because I'm a real person. So it's very important, extremely important.
Now, do you think that is, for some people, particularly people that are presenting an online brand, is a difficult transition to make in terms of how do I inject myself into what I do? Because there is some of that. There is sort of a difficulty in balance in trying to say, well, here's me, and I want people to connect with me, and here's what I do, and I want to present myself as, as an expert in this, and as someone that people want to either hire to do this or purchase things from. So there's this balance between the two. How do you think you can find that sweet spot, or is there a sweet spot?
I think it takes a lot of time to find that sweet spot. Just by reading posts on Google Plus, I can pinpoint pretty well as to who I think is brand new to the business and who's been around for a while. Because when you're brand new to the business, you kind of tend to stick to the business side of it, very sort of more cut and dry, because you haven't found that line where you feel it's okay to share your personality, or you don't think you have personality, which of course is completely not true. Everybody's got a side to them that is interesting in some way. So, but yeah, in the beginning, I think we're all kind of scared to show our personality because number one, we're not sure if it's going to be well perceived, and number two, we're not sure if it's okay for business to inject personality into it. But what happens if we don't? I mean, the other side of the coin is insincerity, not being authentic, not being approachable. And it's so evident with all those new bloggers that are just trying to sound all proper and come up with very deep thoughts, and there is no, I mean, not that there's no substance, but it makes them very unapproachable. They're just,
Yeah, and I was going to say, and the people that do approach you, if you're writing in a way that doesn't resonate with who you are, the people that you wind up connecting with aren't the people who you want to be connecting with, because if they're connecting with a fictitious you, then when you connect with them, you're not going to resonate with them either. And so that sort of cohesion just doesn't take place in there.
And your personality is very, very important. And I think it comes with wisdom of being online for a while to kind of let that personality go. It did take me a while. In the first blog that I started, it was all very easy and article sounding blog. It was just strict knowledge that I wanted to pardon the world because the world wouldn't survive without it. I mean, something silly like that, but it sounded horrible. I mean, now, even at the beginning of Traffic Generation Cafe, about a year ago, I went back to the posts that I wrote when I first started it. They were horrible. No personality, very cut and dry, very uninteresting. No wonder I had a hard time, getting that traction in the first couple of months because I wrote like that. It's only the first successful probably post that I wrote was
a humongous post. It's called 202 bite-sized traffic generation tips, something like this. But
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
But 202 very short tips on how to drive more traffic. And the reason why I was successful, not because it was hugely useful whatsoever, because let's face it, nobody is going to go through 202 of them. I barely read them. You know, I start with the first maybe 15 to 20, and I drop down to the end of the list because it's a lot of crap, excuse me. So anyway, but the point is that was the first. Stop it! I can't talk when you laugh.
Well, it just cracks me up that all of a sudden you're like, I don't even read my own stuff. It's crap. I know that's not what you mean. I know because I know that you go in. I know, because I know that you put a lot of time and effort into it. But I get where you're going at it. The people, I think the people scan it and they find the pieces that work for them.
Right. But see, the thing with that post is that I allowed myself to be fun, because I am a fun person. I really am. You know, I crack my husband up all the time. Even my 70-year-old laughs at my jokes so far. But so in that post, I allowed myself to be fun and kind of playful, and it did wonders for my writing because people loved it. I even, you know, a couple of things that I said there, like tip number 5, let's say, don't talk about your kids and your pets on your blog. And then tip number 8 is do talk about your cats and your blog, you know, on your blog. And the point that I was driving is that just get that curiosity going. Let people ask questions. Let them laugh at you. Let them think that you're incompetent, but it engages them with you. So there is really nothing wrong with being with letting your personality go, because you have to remember something. You are hopefully in your business for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And if you're not yourself for the long haul, you just won't be there for long, because you know, if you have to make yourself to pretend someone who you're not for too long, it just is not going to work.
Yeah. In fact, I think Karen Chin, I think, nailed this. She says that being you can only be you, which is a recurring theme in social media. I think that sums it up exceptionally well, Karen. Yeah, I think that pretty much nailed what you're saying.
And you know, people ask me all the time, what if people don't like who I am? Then what? What if, you know? And first of all, there is always an audience that will resonate with who you are. You just need to find the right people, you know. Sometimes, let's take Google+, since we're here, so that means that we like it enough to be here. But, you know, if you hang around Google+, let's face it, there's a cool boys club that everybody wants to be part of but doesn't really know how to get in, or awesome girls club that, you know, share each other's content and kind of talk about each other, and you don't know how to break in, and you try to match their personality somehow to try to get them to like you. And that's exactly what my 7-year-old daughter does right now. She's navigating those social circles, and she's trying to, you know, make herself adjust to other personalities. And I keep trying to tell her, honey, just be who you are, and people will be attracted to you for who you are. It doesn't click very well.
Right. Yeah. So, and I think that's because honestly, if you're posting stuff and people online don't like you, that's actually not a bad thing. I mean, if everybody doesn't like you, you know, you may need to do some examination. Right. But if you have people that are like, I really don't connect with your content, that's a good thing. That's part of the reason that you write it. You don't write just so that everybody connects to it. You write so that the people that are not going to resonate with you are filtered out. So it's not just an attraction process, it's a filtering process as well. And that, when you think of it that way, you're less, there's less pressure to try to force it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? If I have a problem, I have a need, I have a pain that needs to be solved, and you have no personality, but you have the perfect solution to my problem, don't you think I will still listen to you? Absolutely. It's really the depth of your knowledge of your topic is what will take you to the next level. It's not being the class clown if you don't have that in you. It's not fitting in. I mean, remember why you are in an online business to begin with, because you have expertise to show to people. So show that expertise in the best way you can and build your relationships based on that expertise. Now, that's even better way of doing it than honestly, cracking jokes on Google Plus. So,
I concur, and we're going to come right back to that in just a moment. But we are now, Anna Hoffman, at the halfway point in the show, and do you know what that means?
I think that means don't do this.
Oh, okay. For those of you who don't get what she was saying, I was giving Mia Voss a hard time on our last show because when we did the intro clip, if the guest talks during it, it will transfer over, and it did that for her, and she was like this, and so I was giving her a hard time. So Anna's making reference to that. But according to the social theory Big Green Clock, we have passed the halfway point in our show, and that means it is time for this or that. All right, this is the point in our show where we get to know our social media leaders just a little bit better by asking them for this or that questions. These questions come directly out of my Would You Rather deck of cards, and they span 4 categories. The first category is fear or discomfort, followed by appearance or embarrassment, and then ethics or intellect, and finally a random category. And you, Anna Hoffman, will be presented with 2 possible scenarios, and you will have to choose this or that, and then tell us why. Are you ready to play?
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Would you rather have to always walk around with small stones in your shoes, or always have smoke in your eyes?
Ooh. I would say the stone in my shoes, because when I have anything in my eyes, I think my brain stops working and I just become the person you don't want to know. So I probably will take the stones in my shoes.
All right, so stones in the shoes, and we will retain a working brain.
Right.
Awesome.
And, make you the happier camper as a result.
I'm all about being a happy camper. Well, that's good to go. Okay, so question number 2. Would you rather have to go to work in the morning without doing anything in the way of cleaning up except for brushing your teeth, or do everything to clean up but not be allowed to brush your teeth? And we're going to assume for this that you actually have to go to work somewhere as opposed to working from home, because that's, cheating.
See, I would rather not brush my teeth, because that assumes that I will still drink my coffee, and coffee breath is basically there no matter what, whether you brush your teeth or not. So I'll definitely take that one.
All right, you will brush your teeth with coffee.
There you go. Yeah, it's It's coffee breath. It's not bad breath.
Yeah. And I really can't blame you on that, because, coffee is where it's at.
Right. Right, please.
All right, question number 3. Would you rather be able to communicate fluently with all animals, or automatically understand all foreign languages?
Oh, that's just a pain in the neck both ways, because then I would have to engage, which is not something that I like to do.
We're talking about engagement here, Anna.
I know. Let's take animals, because, people are too predictable.
Okay. Animals, because of their unpredictability.
Right, there you go.
And that way, when the little bird tells you, he really does tell you.
Move it. Come on, move closer. Move closer to the bird. Oh, I love it.
There it is. Hey, okay. We're good now.
Oh,
Moving on to the last one from the random category.
Okay.
Would you rather be forced to run on a giant hamster wheel at work every day for an hour, or drink only from a baby bottle every day?
Definitely baby bottle. I'll take anything, any kind of food over any kind of workout.
I will always take consumption over exercise.
Yes, that's me.
And, you know, I suppose we could fill the baby bottle with coffee, right?
Always, because you're right, it doesn't say what's in the bottle.
It
So,
doesn't. Yeah. And then you could use the baby bottle to brush your teeth.
There you go, and then go to work so that you can run in the wheel all day long. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, this has been This or That, and I think we all know Ana Hoffman just a little bit better.
I know Ana Hoffman just a little bit better, too. So.
Oh, the things we discover, huh? All right, Anna. Well, we've got some great comments that are showing up over here, and we want to transition a little bit into moving from sort of the theory of our show to the praxis, to the practical ways we can put some things into use. I love what Julie had to say. She's agreeing with you here, and she says, I can bring it up. There we go. She says that I agree that connecting with your customer and listening to their needs is #1. And it's difficult to help if we don't know what will be required to find a solution. And she really likes your approach, as it is the part of business I enjoy, getting to all kinds of people and clients.
I absolutely agree, Julie.
And that goes back to this concept of connection, is listening, because you know we haven't talked as much about listening, but there are unique ways that we make use of on social media and through blogs of how to listen to people, which is different than sometimes just sitting down with conversations, such as social listening, the comment stream that we have, the responses to emails that we have for our subscriber list. Is there anything that you do to really help you kind of get an idea for what the people in your community need to respond, so that you can respond to that?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many things that you can do. One thing that immediately came to mind, and unfortunately I kind of walked away from it just because I'm a little bit too overwhelmed with staying ahead of social media. So what I used to do at Traffic Generation Cafe, whenever I got, I mean, hopefully as a website owner, you're building a list right now, because that's really the cornerstone of your future business success in so many ways. And when you're building a list, you obviously need something to say to your list. Well, here's an idea. You know, I understand if you get, you know, hundreds of subscribers per day, probably not. And if you don't, why not send your people who are subscribing to your list on a regular basis a personal email? And I don't, you know, I mean like any autoresponder, like Aweber, will let you know that you have such and such subscriber that just joined your list. Go say hello to them. I used to just say, hey Thomas, how's it going? You know, just wanted to come by, say hello, see if there's anything I can do for you. And I would get back all the time email, is this for real? Are you for real? Did you just send me an email? Like, yeah, why are you so surprised? Because nobody does it. That's why.
And you're not talking about setting up like an automatic, like an autoresponder welcome email. You're talking about going in, figuring out who are the most recent subscribers to your list, and sending them a personal email that says, hey, I want to thank you for subscribing to my list, and kind of introducing yourself to them.
Absolutely. And you know what? Do it, take a step further, because you don't want to sound like an autoresponder, because you're not. So what you're doing is that, you know, like I use Gmail for my email marketing, and there are all kinds of widgets that you can install in Gmail that when you see the contact in your Gmail, it gives you an idea of where they're from, their social media feeds, you know, just bits of information that can help you to learn more about them. So I always made a point to say something about them. Like, I just came back from your website. You did a great job with, your web design. And people, it just blows them away. It takes you 30 seconds to 1 minute to find out more about them. But because you made that effort and you let them know about it, I mean, you have no idea what kind of wonders you can do with your email list when you do that. And now that I'm getting myself so excited about it, I'm thinking I need to do that again because
I hadn't even considered that, and that's such a fantastic touch because I mean it really drives the personal home, and when you can move from a sort of that automatic sort of general connection to a specific personal connection with people.
Right.
Talk about engagement and loyalty. That's remarkable.
Absolutely. And the other side of this coin is that so I subscribed to an influencer's email list the other day. I don't want to say names, doesn't matter. But the first email that I get asks me a question. So I want to know more what's important in your business, right? I mean, you hear that advice all the time. Ask them in your email. But then the next line says, I get so many emails that I probably won't answer yours. But you can tell me anyway because I'm listening. I'm like, really?
If you're going to tell me right up front that you get so many you're not going to be able to answer it, then that's also telling me that you get so many you're not going to be able to read it.
Exactly. Then I'm just a speck. And why would I care? Now, going back, this is someone that I was trying to connect with. It was sort of like a social experiment. Can you get connected with someone who, from scratch, not knowing, they don't know me, I don't know them, I just know their name. Then I go back to the blog, and it's the same thing. I love your comments. I don't have time to answer them, but please leave one. Literally, that's what it says. I mean, seriously, of course, needless to say, I never commented, I never emailed, and I unsubscribed. So what a loss, because going further in your business doesn't give you an excuse to step away from the people who built your business to begin with.
And who sustain that business.
Absolutely. So, getting the traction in your business is just not enough because the traction, even an inertia kind of stops working at some point. Keep moving and moving and moving, but eventually it stops. So, you have to keep giving it that traction. Paying attention to people is tremendously important.
Yeah, and speaking of paying attention to people, Carrie Ann Foster had a great comment here where she says that then you can put the baby bottle in your mouth instead of engaging with people. So, the other alternative is to just carry a baby bottle around all the time.
There, I think that blogger does.
Yes. I'm getting a lot of comments that are coming in here as well about Twitter. And in fact, Missy J commented, this goes back to our earlier conversation, that Twitter sometimes seems like hard work. And Brown promoted a piece of advice here where he talks about creating lists in Twitter that can really help you connect with people. I know that Twitter, for you, has been a particularly strong platform that you have built engagement off of. For those of us that really struggle with Twitter, what type of advice can you give us about being able to cultivate an engaged following on that platform?
Well, number one, you have to remember that getting engaged on platforms that speak to you only is very selfish of you, because your audience is everywhere. They're a lot broader than what your vision is. So you kind of have to make the choice. When you build a business, you have to go where your community is. And if your community is on Twitter, then by all means, give it a shot and learn how to use it. Because, Thomas, I'm with you. It's not my favorite platform, but what I did there was fine. It's not my favorite platform. Doesn't mean that I can't get engaged. What my point on Twitter was to bring them to Traffic Generation Cafe as quickly as I can so that I can really connect with them there, because I didn't really want to have a conversation on Twitter because it just didn't feel natural. But if I can build enough rapport with them so that they would follow me back to Traffic Generation Cafe, and that's when I build a true relationship with them. That was my goal on Twitter, and still is. You know, my Twitter presence is come to Traffic Generation Cafe.
Gotcha. So you reach out, you make the connections there because that's where they are,
Right.
but then your goal is to move them to where the conversation can go deeper. So you can still have sort of that surface level connection here.
Absolutely.
Move them to a deeper level.
Absolutely. For instance, Google Plus is very different, right? I don't mind having a good discussion here, and I have them every day. It's not as important for me that people will come to my blog immediately because I can build a relationship with them here. There is enough of depth on Google Plus for that. With something like Twitter, it's definitely back to my blog. So you kind of have to have a feel for the platform that you're on. Again, if your community is there, that's where you need to be, but try to figure out a way how you can adjust it to your personality so it can work for both your community and you.
And I'm gonna follow up with that. I think Lyndall had a fantastic a comment that identifies, I think, some of the challenges that a lot of us face. I'd love to get your insight on this. He says that he can create sort of a name brand, but he doesn't know how to sell that name, and that's sort of the problem that he is struggling with. Now, we can approach that name brand idea in two ways, either as a brand outside of a personal brand or also as that sort of personal branding. So, you know, presenting Thomas as a brand, presenting Ana Hoffman as a brand, but that ability to establish that name and promote that and promote engagement around that, what type of advice would you offer someone like Lyndall?
I think if you're going at it backwards, it might work for you better, meaning that don't approach as promoting your brand. Start branding yourself as an expert, and once you brand yourself, what happens is that people will want to know what's behind you, what website is behind you, and they will follow you there even if you never mention the name. I mean, that's why about pages are some of the most popular pages on websites and social media profiles, because, you know, if you say something interesting and you show the depth of your expertise, I'll want to know who you are, and I want to follow you there. So I think that would be my best suggestion, is to brand yourself as an expert, and then branding of your company name, your website name will kind of naturally follow.
And in branding yourself as an expert, there's a couple elements to that, right? I mean, there's demonstrating through your content and through your comments that you're knowledgeable of your industry. There's identifying your personality, which you talked about earlier. There is establishing connections with other industry colleagues so that you can be seen as part of the industry itself, which are sort of, would you agree those are sort of some of the elements that come into branding yourself as an expert?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's not always about who you know, it's about who knows you too. So it kind of goes both ways, and your expertise in your niche really should make both pieces come together. Mm-hmm. But with you being an active part, because again, it doesn't work if you just are there. You know, you're an expert, but nobody knows who you are. That's not going to do you any good.
Right, and in fact, and I'm going to kind of spill the beans here, because I know that I happen to be kind of on the inside scoop, and I know that you have something in the works that actually deals directly with how do you build this traffic? How do you generate yourself in a way that drives people to your website and to that home place with this trafficology blueprint that you're getting set to launch and already have a website up for it? Can you tell us a little about what that is?
Well, it sort of was born out of necessity, really, because I did not want to create a course. I did not want to do my own product. Quite honestly, it's a lot of work, and I'm not up for it. But people just kept. I know. You know, honestly, I hate it, but I love giving people the information. That's why Traffic Generation Cafe is there. So people kept asking me, well, can you teach me this, and can you teach me that? How can I drive more traffic to this website? How do I not get overwhelmed because I don't have time? How do I appear to be everywhere when I don't have the time to be everywhere? So the questions just kept coming, and my general response was, well, go read my blog because that's what I write about. But then people get there and say, well, now what? You know, I'm stuck reading hundreds of posts. That doesn't do me any good. So my personal sort of secret that I've been using for the past couple of years was checklists. I have a checklist for pretty much everything. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a housewife, #1. And then my business is like priority number 10, if it's lucky. So, you know, I have... It's just true, you know. I mean, life comes before business. That's
right.
No question about it. So if I have about 3 hours a day to run my business, I have to be on the point. I have to get things done that make the difference. And then if I have enough time to get things done that don't, then I will. If not, you know, I have to let it go. And in order to be efficient, I've realized is that I need systems, very well optimized systems, that doing those systems becomes second nature. So when I come on Google+, how do I not get lost for an hour there, which is so easy to do? It's because I have a system. I've got my check marks. I've got my checklists. So a friend of mine, Kirk Frankenberg of Shoestring 101, one day says, can I use the checklist of yours that you do for promoting your posts? Can I do, you know, can I borrow that checklist? And then, of course, he gives me the idea of why don't you put it all together and give it to people who need it? And turns out it's just about everyone around me. So I'm start creating Trafficology Blueprint, which is my way of creating a system that actually works because it's very hands-on. It's not theory. It's true practical way for you to learn how to do those check marks and do things that actually work when they work, at the right time, at the right place. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you, one of the things that I love about this, just from some of the stuff, I know you and I have sort of had conversations about it, but at the point that it's at right now, it's not a static thing. It's this dynamic, evolving thing. So the people that get involved with it early on, now, you know, I mean, I know that you have a website there so that people can get on the list, get plugged into it, and it's getting set to launch and really take off. But one of the incredible benefits about getting in that first wave is that you become part of the evolution of this itself and are able to communicate what are your needs in your business, what are the questions that you have, what are the areas that you're struggling with, and allow those to shape the areas of the course and what some of the course deals with directly, so that you aren't just engaging with a course that is sort of this generic thing out here like the MLM systems you were talking about at the beginning, but is actually something targeted to and geared around the real challenges, the real goals, the real struggles that you face as a blogger, as a content marketer, as an online business person, and are able to get involved with that. And that's at trafficologyblueprint.com, right? We're going to put a link up to that right after the show. And I'll put that in the description as well. But
thank you, Thomas. But the idea here is that I can't really build something of true use to you if I don't really know what you need. Because I know what I need to make my business run smoothly, but I don't really know what you need. So trafficologyblueprint.com at this moment, right, if you go there right now, it's a mess. But you know what? It's a mess. It's an art form of a mess because you are watching it being created from absolutely nothing. And if you, right now, it's just basically an opt-in page that would allow you to be notified about everything else that I do. And it's so in such a raw form that I don't even have an autoresponder set up. So you can be sure that I'm going to be responding to you personally, because that's the only way I can deliver to you the PDF that I promise on that page. So,
gotcha.
But you know what? It's all good because community. I can't do this without community. I just can't. You know, I try to, it doesn't work. So for any one of you who wants to be brave enough to come and check it out and join me, I promise you quite a ride into traffic generation. I'll teach you everything I know, but that comes at a price, and that price is you giving me feedback and telling me what I'm doing wrong, that I could be doing better, what else you want to learn from me. So it's sort of a two-way road, and that's the unique opportunity of doing it right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the comments popping up, and you're already getting a lot of people who are identifying this is something they need. Brown is saying that having a checklist like that is perfect for him. Jason Darrell was wondering if there's a premium version, but I think what you were saying is that this is an actual course that you're going to be offering. So this kind of is the premium version.
So right now, there's no course per se. There's no shopping cart. There's no, give me money so that you can get access to it. There's nothing like that. So right now, it's just a very raw communication between you and me to find out what it is that needs to go in the course. The course is being built in the background, and I'm hoping to open up the gates, hopefully mid-March, just for people who are willing to go in without it being built perfectly. So it's going to be like a preview launch of some sort. You get lifetime updates, lifetime everything, but you get a site under construction. So that's how it's going to be. But you also get me. You also get people, hopefully like Thomas, to come and join us and to kind of give you the more personal approach to business. But that's how it is, guys. So come join me at Trafficology Blueprint. Don't expect much, but you can expect me to talk to you and find out about your needs and build a better course for all of us as a result.
Yeah, and again, I'll put that link in the comments right after the show is over, and I'll update the description so that it has that link in the description as well for those of you that want to get connected in with that. I know we are running low on time. Missy J had a question. I'm hoping we can answer this in like a minute or two because we're right here at the edge. But she wanted to know, what do you do when your followers that you've already built stop loving what you do? And is there, in a soundbite, here comes your verbal Twitter, is there a response that you could offer to Missy in that case?
Two things. First of all, you have to look at yourself to see if you're doing something that is not likable to your community in general. Is it you or is it them, basically? If it's you, you need to listen to that kind of feedback and change that around before it's too late. If it's them, as you said, Thomas, it's okay too, because there are plenty of people who will love what you're doing if what you're doing is providing them value and solving their problems.
Mm-hmm. And Missy, that's such a great question. There's the other place that I would recommend connecting in with, and I'll put this in the link as well, Anna, is the Spinach in Your Teeth community here on Google Plus, which is a community that actually Anna has created, and I've been a part of this for a while, that is designed specifically for you to be able to post your landing pages or areas of your site that you want feedback on, and then there are folks there, I'm a moderator in it myself, that can come and give you feedback on what works, what doesn't work, suggestions for improvement, and those type of things. It's a really, really powerful community to be a part of, and I'll post that link in there as well. We are running right up on time. Anna, tell us where we can find you at.
Always on Google Plus at Ana Hoffman, always at trafficgenerationcafe.com, and the newly launched today, trafficologyblueprint.com. So I look forward to seeing you wherever you want to connect with me.
Yeah, I'm super excited about your Trafficology Blueprint because that's gonna rock. I'm really excited about that being available. And you folks can connect with me. My name is Thomas E. Hanna. You can find me at BlogPhoto.tv. Feel free to send me a message there or jump on the Insiders list where I'll be connecting with you every week with resources and images and tools that you can get on there, or send me a message right here on Google Plus or on Twitter, and I would love to get connected with you folks. And until then, I will see you all next week. Thanks for being here for Social Theory, and I'll talk to you then.